You're on.
Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name's Michael Stafford. I'm actually the new clinical nutrition manager here at Trident in Somerville. I started about a month or so ago. Came from MUSC, where I managed the nutrition services at the Hollings Cancer Center. I did that for about 7 years. I was actually at MUSC for about 11. But happy to be here at Trident in Somerville as well. So today what we're going to do is just give you a little food for thought and go over about healthy nutrition. I'm sure a lot of you already know the appropriate ways to eat, but we're just always, a refresher is always a good idea. I also want to discuss the food and energy connection, and since this is a behavioral health talk, I wanted to bring up some mindful eating, which I know that we'll go into some more detail about mindfulness itself, but also want to discuss a little bit about mindful eating, because you can do that as well. So usually when we talk about healthy eating, me personally, I don't like to say don't eat this, don't have that. I would rather recommend stuff that you want to increase in your diet. So the more that you're able to increase those good, healthy, nutritious foods in your diet, the less room you have for those unhealthy foods. So typically the things that we want to increase our diet are your whole foods. So whole foods meaning that single ingredient or just whole grains, those types of things. So your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, legumes, beans and peas, nuts and seeds. We want to try to increase those in your diet for the most part as much as possible. And we want to aim for those nutrient-dense foods versus those calorically dense foods. There are some things that you do want to try to limit or avoid if possible. Some of those would be processed foods. Processed foods tend to have lots of other ingredients in them, whether they're preservatives, salts, added fats, those types of things. And then you have your high-fat meats and dairy. We want to typically not go too much really high-fat meat with lots of saturated fats. It can cause inflammation in the body. We want to try to reduce those. Fast foods tend to be those convenience foods that have processed high-fat, all that stuff. And then your concentrated sweets and your sugar-sweetened beverages, you want to watch out for, even if you're not diabetic, you eat those really high sugar foods, that blood sugar goes up, that pancreas releases that insulin, and it also releases some insulin growth factors that can cause inflammation in the body. And our goal from a nutrition standpoint should be to try to decrease that inflammation in the body, not increase it. So those are just some quick things, and these next couple slides just review that a little bit more. Our goal from a nutrition standpoint should be to try to eat a healthy diet that is plant-based. So a healthy diet that is plant-based doesn't mean you have to necessarily be vegetarian or vegan, but it is a good idea to increase those whole foods in your diet. Like I said, fruits, vegetables, beans, peas, nuts and seeds, and those whole grains if you're doing those. This here is a little more difficult for some people to increase those fruits and vegetables in your diet to more than 5 servings a day. And that's just a little tips here to kind of go through. You want to try to include that at every meal and snack. Often breakfast becomes a little bit harder, so getting those fruits for breakfast is a good idea. Fruits are also great portable snacks. They're just made that way, so they're great to bring along if you want to do that. Eat a variety of vegetables and fruits every day. The more color, variety in them, there's typically more vitamins, minerals, nutrients, phytochemicals, those types of things that you're getting in, the more variety, as well as whole fruits and vegetables. If you are to do fruit juices, it's best to do 100% juice and try to only keep that to 1 serving of juice a day, and try to get most of your servings from the whole fruits and vegetables. About the limit and avoid those high-fat meats and processed meats. The American Institute of Cancer Research recommends limiting for cancer prevention, limiting red meat to no more than 18 ounces a week. So that's beef, pork, and lamb. And if you can get down to less than that, less than 12 ounces a week, the better. We also want to limit or even avoid those fast foods and processed foods and those sugar-sweetened foods and beverages. A good rule of thumb is try to limit your daily intake to less than 30 grams of added sugar per day. So now on the label, it'll have that added sugar. You can look right at it. It's best to try to keep it under that 30 added grams of sugar per day if possible. Throughout the day and just environmental factors and those types of things. There's a lot of oxidative stress that happens on our body. So whether it's just from pollutants out in the air, our natural Frotty processes produce free radicals in the body, smoking, those types of things. A lot of those different things can produce oxidation in the body that can also damage our healthy cells in our body. And as you see here, you get those oxidative stresses that cause free radicals, and then it can damage those cells, leading to cancer and cardiovascular disease. Some ways that you can help reduce that risk is through diet and increasing the amount of antioxidants in your diet. So to help prevent or slow down that oxidative stress, we want to increase those antioxidants. And like I said, that's a lot of the reason why we're promoting these plant-based diets, because that's where you get it from. So you get your vitamins, your minerals, and your phytochemicals. A lot of those you're getting from those healthy fruits and vegetables. You don't necessarily have to take supplements, but your high antioxidant vitamins are vitamin A, C, and E. Your high antioxidant minerals are selenium and zinc. And then there's a whole host of phytonutrients or phytochemicals out there that usually, if you get the more that color and variety in those foods, or the more odors and flavors from your herbs and spices, onions and garlic, a lot of that stuff that gives it the color, the odors, the flavor is actually what's good for you and protective for your own cells. And this here is just a little about the food energy connection. Plants are a pretty amazing thing. They actually just stay in one place, are able to gather everything they need, and still take that sunlight energy, turn it into, through photosynthesis, turn it into an energy that we can consume and then use to help our bodies function. So it takes that sunlight, water, carbon dioxide that we breathe out, and the soil and minerals from the earth, brings it together in this perfect little package that we can eat and consume, or even things that you are eating like other poultry or fish or meats. One way or the other, they're eating those plants. So it's all that energy is coming from the sun into the plant. And a calorie actually is a unit of energy. So if you look at it, a calorie is a unit of energy equal to the amount of heat that is contained in the food and released by the body. So if you put that right calories and those right foods in, you'll have that right energy and that positive energy that you want. And I was just I know there'll be a nice presentation on the benefits of mindfulness, but I wanted to discuss a little bit about mindfulness practices and how they can help from a physiological and physical health standpoint and help decrease stress, depression, anxiety, and pain. So this is just a couple slides on this. When you eat mindfully, that's eating with awareness in the present moment. So you want to really slow down, not be distracted by other things, and really enjoy that food that you're eating. So it can actually be a meditation practice or a way to really enjoy that food and eat and just have a good time all around food, which we should all have. It is important to listen to those hunger cues when you are full. It takes for the body or the stomach to relate to the mind that we're full, it takes a good 20 minutes. So chewing those foods thoroughly, taking your time with it, enjoying that food. If you eat a little bit slower, you'll fill up faster, or your mind will realize that you're full and you won't be overeating. So it's important to take your time with eating and distinguish between those actual hunger and non-hunger triggers and cues. Sometimes we eat for emotions or just because we're bored or it's just there. So what you want to do is make sure that you realize that a lot of times those cravings and those hunger are just something that will bypass, just like a lot of feelings. That craving and hunger is not you, it's something that will pass. A lot of times if you can just take that 10 to 15 minutes without falling into that craving will pass and you're able to get over and around that craving. And I believe this is my last slide here. So you just want to engage all those senses. So making sure that you're noticing the colors, the smells, the sounds, the textures, and the taste of those foods. So you really enjoy it. And notice how the food affects your feelings. If you tend to eat a healthier diet and a better meal, you tend to feel better after that meal. Versus if you eat something that's unhealthy and it's fatty, greasy, fried, you tend to feel a little more sluggish and don't tend to feel as well after that meal. So if you can realize that, you can start to see some of those benefits of those healthy eating just in the present moment. And then, because in the end, we do want to eat to maintain our overall health. You don't want eating to damage your health, you want it to improve your health. And by practicing mindful eating, you can really appreciate that food in the present moment, knowing where it's coming from, know how good that food is, enjoy that food, and it can improve your overall health and energy levels. And that's about it. You guys have any questions? Feel free to ask them. This is my contact information here. Questions? No?
All right.
About 10 to 15 minutes.
It's great. That's great. Yeah.
Here's the room.
See if I can work this thing here. My name is Larry Lowell. I'm the Director of Physical Rehab here at Trident Hospital. I'm a physical therapy. Graduated from Medical College of Georgia in 1984, so it seemed like a long time ago. I'm an athletic trainer, also a sports conditioning specialist. Anyway, so when Mark asked me to do the talk, I had to put some time into reading about mental illness, just to kind of connect the two, and matter of fact, learn some stuff